After 3 years of marriage, Elias suddenly became a different person. The man who used to frequent nightclubs now came home on time every day to cook dinner. The women who used to surround him were all gone, cleaned out of his life. Now he watched my every expression carefully, afraid of making me even the slightest bit unhappy. Then one day, he begged me to go to the hospital for a checkup, and in that moment I knew he had been reborn. Chapter 1. Elias rushed home without even taking off his suit. He went straight into the kitchen and spent 2 hours cooking. Finally, he set 8 dishes and a soup on the table. Bending down carefully, he placed a bowl of soup in front of me and softly said, "Julia, this is ginseng and pork tripe soup. It strengthens the spleen and nourishes the stomach. Try it and see if you like it." He watched me nervously. I took a small sip and nodded. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief and sit down. "As long as you like it. Try this steamed yellow croaker stuffed with broth. I had it flown in fresh today. It's exceptionally tender." He picked up a piece of fish and placed it on my plate. If Elias's subordinates saw him acting so attentive and respectful, they would be utterly shocked. I ignored the fish and continued eating other dishes. He gave an awkward smile. "It's okay, as long as you eat what you like." After a moment, he picked up his chopsticks, but then put them down again, hesitating as he looked at me. "Julia, a few renowned doctors will be coming to the hospital this weekend for a joint consultation. How about I take you for a checkup?" My heart skipped a beat. "I'm not sick. Why would I need a checkup? Are you hoping I am?" He panicked. "Julia, that's not what I meant. I should have taken you for a checkup a long time ago." I looked at him coldly and asked, "Elias, why are you suddenly so concerned about me?" He was stunned. After a long silence, he finally said, "You're my wife. Isn't it natural for me to care about you?" After speaking, he guiltily lowered his head and continued eating. He didn't need to say it. I already knew the reason. Because he had been reborn too. Chapter 2. A month ago, Elias changed completely. He used to spend every night drinking at bars, constantly making tabloid headlines with scandals involving celebrities under his company. When he came home in the middle of the night, he would deliberately wake me up and lash out at me. I knew he was testing me, waiting for me to surrender and beg for his affection. But I refused because I was his wife, not a toy he bought to amuse himself. So he pushed even harder. But one day, something changed. No matter how much his friends called him out, he never set foot in a bar again. Every day, he came home at exactly 5 o'clock to cook dinner. Every meal was a feast, 8 dishes and a soup. On weekends, he spent his free time curled up at home, studying cookbooks. The once notorious Elias, a staple in entertainment headlines, suddenly became a man of discipline and restraint. People speculated, had he been possessed? Only I knew the truth. When he thought I wasn't looking, his eyes lingered on me with an insatiable, almost desperate hunger, as if I might disappear at any moment. At night, while I slept, he secretly held me in his arms, stroking my hair, murmuring my name over and over again. When I stared at our wedding photo in a daze, he would turn his face away and discreetly wipe away his tears. I had a suspicion, but it was too absurd to believe, until tonight when he suggested taking me for a checkup at dinner. That's when I knew for sure that he had been reborn too. In our past life, I had wasted away in a hospital bed. He knelt by my side, apologizing over and over, begging me not to leave, but it was too late. The cancer had spread. Even the world's top doctors couldn't save me. In the end, I closed my eyes for the last time in his arms, his tears streaming down my face. I never expected that when I opened my eyes again, I would be back 2 years earlier, back to when I hadn't completely lost hope in Elias. And what I least expected was that he had come back, too. Chapter 3. After dinner, I agreed to Elias's proposal, not for him, but for myself. Fate had given me a second chance, and I wouldn't waste it. Elias was overjoyed. He immediately called his assistant to arrange everything. As I ate the freshly washed fruit he prepared, memories from my past life surfaced. I had only gone to the hospital when my illness had become severe. By then, it had progressed to late-stage stomach cancer, and the medical bills were astronomical. When I tried to pay at the hospital, I discovered that Elias had already frozen my credit cards. I called him, and on the other end of the line, I heard obscene, breathless sounds. Panting, he asked, "So now you're finally willing to spend my money?" I told him I was dying and needed to pay for surgery. He burst into laughter, mocking me for making such a ridiculous lie. "Julia, if you want to beg, at least do it properly. With that arrogant attitude, why should I spend money on you?" "Zoe, don't you think so?" Elias, stop. You're too rough. Already complaining, my precious? We're just getting started." A wave of nausea surged in my stomach. The moment I hung up, I coughed up a mouthful of blood, a crimson stain blooming on the pristine hospital floor. Cough, cough. What's wrong, Julia? Did the fruit get stuck? Elias had just ended his call and walked over, patting my back. "It's my fault. Next time, I'll cut the fruit into smaller pieces for you so you won't choke." I brushed his hand away and lowered my head, avoiding his gaze. I didn't want him to see the hatred in my eyes. I didn't want him to know, at least not yet, that I had been reborn too. I would torment him, grind him down. Did he think he could easily make amends and mend what was broken? Not a chance. Chapter 4. Early Saturday morning, Elias drove me to the hospital. As soon as we stepped inside, a dedicated staff member greeted us and explained the medical examination process. After dealing with hospitals in my past life, I had learned to understand many of the complex medical terms. There were many tests, but the focus was on cancer screening. This only confirmed my suspicions. My judgment had been correct. The massive hospital was eerily empty, as if it had been reserved just for me. Elias stayed by my side, accompanying me through every test. By the time we finished the last one, nearly 2 hours had passed. Just as I was about to push open the door, a familiar voice reached my ear. "Elias, you haven't come to see me in so long. I called you, but you didn't answer. Do you not like me anymore?" Through the glass, I saw a familiar face. Once, that same face had been adorned with flawless makeup. Back when I had just finished a round of chemotherapy and lay weakly in my hospital bed, she had leaned close to my ear, her eyes dark with restrained hatred, like a venomous snake flicking its tongue. She whispered that she was 3 months pregnant, that once I died, she and Elias could finally have their perfect little family. As I stared at her in disbelief, she seemed to revel in my pain, her lips curling into a slow smile. From a quiet chuckle, her laughter gradually swelled into something wild and unhinged. Her twisted expression was a far cry from the public image of the one and only goddess of the entertainment industry. But now she was still just a rookie actress under Elias's company, not yet the A-list celebrity he would one day make her. Her hair was tied up in a ponytail, and she wore a tracksuit, looking every bit the fresh-faced newcomer. I pushed open the door just in time to see her pressing close to Elias on the bench. Elias shot up from his seat, looking visibly panicked. "Julia, are you done with your checkup?" And she's just a minor actress from my company." "Julia, let's go home." Elias quickly draped a scarf over my shoulders. "It's windy outside. Be careful not to catch a cold." A flash of resentment flickered in her eyes, but she quickly mastered it with a sweet smile. "You must be Mrs. Sinclair. I'm Zoe, an actress under Elias's company. I'm 20 years old and currently studying acting at a university. I got injured on set, and my boss personally arranged for me to receive treatment at this hospital. You're truly stunning. The boss talks about you all the time." She smiled smugly, her words laced with provocation. I responded with a gentle smile, but said nothing. Elias watched me. "Julia, let me explain." I cut him off. "Miss Zoe, please continue your treatment. We'll be heading home now." Chapter 5. On the way back, Elias kept stealing careful glances at me while driving. Noticing his hesitation, I said, "If you have something to say, just say it. Holding it in might make you sick, and then you'd need treatment." He opened his mouth, hesitated for a moment, then cautiously said, "Julia, there's nothing between me and her. We've only met a few times at company events, I promise. I won't have any contact with her in the future, and I won't let anyone interfere in our relationship." I let out a cold laugh. Hearing these words come from Elias was truly amusing. He grew anxious. Julia, you have to believe me. Words mean nothing. Why should I trust you? Julia, tell me what I need to do to make you believe me. I'll do whatever you say. I thought for a moment. I want to join your company's entertainment department as a director. After all, half of the company belongs to me, doesn't it? He was momentarily stunned. Then, to my surprise, he smiled, an expression of genuine delight. From my angle in the passenger seat, I could see the way his brows relaxed and the faint dimple on his right cheek surfaced. Yes, you're my wife, of course. Half of my company belongs to you, Julia. I never thought you'd be willing to work at my company. All right then, I'll have HR arrange it right away. You can start next week. I'll have Monica assist you. She's a veteran in the entertainment department. If you have any questions, you can ask her. Of course, you can also ask me anytime. He beamed with excitement and immediately called HR to make the arrangements. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of expression Zoe would have when she realized that I was now her direct superior. Chapter 6. When we got home, Elias went into the kitchen to make dinner, and I received a video call from my parents. Their faces were squeezed together on the small screen, excitedly telling me about the delicious food they had eaten and the places they had visited recently. Listening to them, I felt a warmth rise in my eyes. Being able to live again, to see my parents once more, what a gift. Julia, why do your eyes look red? My mom's face was filled with worry. I sniffled. It's nothing, just a little cold. What were you saying just now? Julia, do you remember Uncle Pablo, your dad's friend? He opened a resort in the mountains and invited your dad and me to the grand opening tomorrow. We'll be staying there for a few days, my dad added. That's right. We'll drive there tomorrow afternoon. I heard there's even a bonfire party at night. Your Uncle Pablo's business is really booming these days. I froze. My mind went blank, like I had just been struck by lightning. A resort in the mountains. In my past life, my parents had died in a landslide on the way to that very resort. Their bodies were never found. I had been left alone in this world to suffer endless torment. Could the same tragedy be happening again in this life? Julia? Julia? Huh? Mom, I'm listening. What's wrong with you, spacing out like that? Are you not sleeping well? No, Mom, listen. Why don't you skip the trip to the resort? The mountains are damp and cold, and both you and Dad have joint issues. It's not worth the trouble. My mom frowned. That's nonsense. Uncle Pablo is your dad's old friend. He invited us a month ago. How can we just cancel last minute? Besides, we're also going to check out the business. Who knows, maybe our family will invest in this industry someday. But, Mom, enough. Your dad's driving. Are you saying you don't trust him? Anyway, I'm hanging up now, my drama is starting. You go spend time with Elias and hurry up with the grandkids. We want to be grandparents soon. I wanted to keep persuading her, but she had already hung up. A tight knot formed in my chest. What should I do? They were leaving tomorrow afternoon. Knowing my mom, she was probably already packing their bags tonight. How could I stop them? If I told them I had been reborn, Mom would probably send me straight to a psychiatric hospital. I sat on the bed, my mind spinning so fast it hurt. Elias pushed the door open. Julia, dinner is ready, come eat. He paused when he saw me sitting there motionless. What's wrong? Do you feel unwell? I stared blankly for a moment before shaking my head. You haven't dried your hair yet. You'll get a headache. He walked over, took off my towel, and picked up the hair dryer to dry my hair. The warm air blew gently against my scalp, making me want to cry. I sniffled. I'm going out tomorrow. You don't need to come home at noon to cook for me. His hands stilled for a moment. All right. That night, as I lay in bed, I made up my mind. Tomorrow morning, I would go back home. No matter what it took, I would not let my parents drive into those mountains. Even if they thought I was crazy, it was better than losing them again. With that thought, I slowly drifted off to sleep. Chapter 7. Sunlight flooded the room, signaling the start of a new day. For a few seconds, I lay there in a daze, then I bolted upright. Grabbing my phone, I checked the time, 11 a.m. What the hell? Why didn't my alarm go off? I had no time to think about it. I threw on my clothes and rushed out of the house, hailing the first cab I saw. I frantically gave the driver my parents' address. They lived in the east of the city, and from my current location, I had to cross the entire city to get there. By the time we reached downtown, it was the middle of the lunch hour rush. The traffic was a nightmare, cars stuck in place, barely moving. Minutes ticked by, and my anxiety skyrocketed. I leaned forward, my voice urgent. "Driver, how much longer?" He absent-mindedly tapped his fingers on the steering wheel. "No idea. Look at this jam. Been stuck here 5 minutes, haven't moved an inch." I yanked out my phone and called my mom. The phone rang and rang, but no one answered. I tried my dad next, but his phone was turned off. My stomach dropped. Had they already left? Panicking, I called Elias, hoping he could ask someone to block my parents on the road. But instead of ringing, his phone displayed, "The number you dialed is currently on another call. Please try again later." I stared out at the unmoving traffic, my breath catching in my throat. Was I going to lose my parents again? Even with a second chance, was fate unchangeable? Just then, the driver shouted, "The road's clearing." "Hold on tight, miss. I'll get you there as fast as I can." Chapter 8. The taxi sped through the streets, and after what felt like an eternity, I finally arrived home. The moment the door opened, I pushed past the person in front of me and rushed inside. The sight of my parents made my tears burst forth uncontrollably. "Dad, Mom." I threw myself into my mother's arms, sobbing as if I wanted to pour out all the grievances I had suffered in my past life. "What's wrong, Julia? What happened?" I could barely catch my breath between sobs, unable to form a single coherent word. I. A familiar voice suddenly cut in, rescuing me from my struggle. "Dad, Mom, Julia just missed you both. It's been too long since she's seen you. Silly girl, if you missed us, just come home. It's not like you don't know where we live." I lifted my head and saw Elias standing firmly in the middle of the living room, still wearing an apron. Elias didn't go to the office today. He insisted on coming over to cook for us. I hesitated before asking, "So you're not going to Uncle Pablo's resort anymore?" My dad waved his hand dismissively. "Nope. That guy, Pablo, heard that Elias was cooking and decided he'd rather come to our house for a free meal. He says his son-in-law's cooking is so bad that he'll probably never get to eat a proper meal in this lifetime." Elias chuckled and turned toward the kitchen. "Dad, Mom, you chat with Julia. I'll finish up the meal. It'll be ready soon." All right. At the dining table, I gnawed on a pork rib while my mom praised Elias's cooking. After learning that he had been handling all my meals, she showered him with even more compliments. My dad then started talking about Uncle Pablo's son-in-law again, calling him an incompetent fool who had no career ambition and was constantly causing chaos at home. Compared to him, our son-in-law is much better. Elias's face turned redder and redder, but he proudly declared, "From now on, I'll bring Julia home every weekend and cook for you both." My parents were overjoyed, completely won over. They even started talking about how we should have a baby soon so they could melt down their family's gold jewelry to make a longevity locket for their grandchild. Elias happily agreed, but at the mention of a baby, I froze. A child? Even after living 2 lives, that was still an unfamiliar concept to me. Chapter 9. After lunch, Elias played chess with my dad while I watched TV dramas with my mom. The warm afternoon sunlight filtered in just right. As dinner time approached, the TV suddenly interrupted its programming with a breaking news report. A sudden landslide has occurred at Qingyang Mountain. Several private vehicles have been buried, and multiple people are trapped. Rescue operations are currently underway. The news anchor's voice echoed through the room, each word striking my heart like a hammer. "Oh my, isn't that the mountain where your Uncle Pablo's resort is? Come look," my mom called out anxiously. My dad hurried over. "What's wrong?" "Look, isn't this where Pablo's resort is? Qingyang Mountain." My dad's face instantly turned pale. Clutching his chest, he collapsed onto the sofa. "Julia, get your dad's medicine." My mom frantically rubbed my dad's back, trying to calm him down. I quickly grabbed the pills from the coffee table and handed them to him. After a while, he finally regained his breath. Elias immediately called for a private doctor. Once my dad was checked and cleared of any serious issues, Elias helped him to bed to rest. My mom held me tightly, her hands trembling as she murmured in shock, "Julia, thank goodness you and Elias came today. I don't even want to think about what could have happened if you hadn't." I hugged her back. "Mom, it's okay. We're all safe now. Go get some rest, too. Elias and I are staying the night. We won't be leaving." She nodded. "All right. Having you two here puts my heart at ease. You should both get some sleep, too." Chapter 10. Elias and I returned to the bedroom. "I'm going to take a shower first," I said, turning my back to him and walking toward the bathroom. "Julia." He reached out and grabbed my arm. I turned around, meeting his gaze. His eyes were filled with pain. "Julia, it's okay now, your parents are safe. For the next month, I'll have people secretly protecting them. You don't have to worry. I will always protect you and your parents forever." His intense gaze said more than words ever could. I nodded and looked away. "Thank you for today." The moment the hot water hit my skin, I finally let go of my fear. Not everything was unchangeable. This time, my parents didn't leave me. This time, they would stay with me forever. After turning off the lights, I lay in bed. Moonlight seeped through the curtains, casting a faint glow in the room. I faced away from Elias, listening to the restless sound of him tossing and turning. "Can't sleep." He froze. Moments later, I felt warmth creeping closer from behind me. "Julia, I need to tell you something." I stayed silent. "The doctor called me today. Your test results are back. Early-stage stomach cancer." The air in the room grew still. I took a deep breath. "Got it." He gripped my shoulders, panic in his touch. "Julia, don't be scared. I'll be with you." The doctor said that with treatment, early-stage cases have a high cure rate. "I'll hire the best doctors. Leave everything to me. You don't have to worry about anything, okay?" The man behind me fell silent. "Are you done?" His voice trembled. "Yes." "Okay. I'll follow the treatment plan." After such a long, exhausting day, drowsiness finally overtook me. Half asleep, I felt someone wrap their arms around me, whispering my name. Soon after, I heard quiet sobs. Cool tears fell onto my face. Ugh, so noisy. Chapter 11. The next morning, after having breakfast at my parents' house, Elias and I headed home. When we arrived, the doctor Elias had arranged was already waiting for us. Once inside, he walked us through the treatment plan. The primary approach would be conservative treatment to suppress tumor growth. If the results weren't satisfactory, surgery would be performed as soon as possible. Since the cancer had been caught early, the chances of a full recovery were promising. As the doctor explained everything, Elias clasped my hand tightly. "Julia, don't be afraid." "I'm here." I wasn't afraid. After all, in my past life, I had endured everything alone in the hospital without fear. This time, I had even less reason to be afraid. After the doctor left, Elias's assistant arrived to report on work matters, including the transition of the entertainment department. Entertainment was a crucial division of Elias's family conglomerate and had been the foundation of his empire when he started from scratch. For 4 years, he had managed the department personally. Now he was handing it over to me. "Julia, this is my assistant, Hudson. From now on, the entertainment department is yours. If you have any questions, just ask him. Also, Monica as the deputy director will fully support you." I raised an eyebrow. "Elias, are you sure about handing the entertainment department over to me?" He burst into laughter and took my hand, gently pinching my fingers. "Of course. Why wouldn't I trust my top student wife? Once you get familiar with the company, I might as well hand over the entire business to you. By then, you'll be calling the shots outside while I stay home to be the perfect house husband and raise our kids." Without a word, I withdrew my hand before he got too lost in his fantasy. Chapter 12. 2 weeks later, I completed my first cycle of treatment at the hospital. Feeling much better, I decided it was time to start working at the company. Upon arriving, I was first introduced to Monica. She gave me an overview of the entertainment department and arranged for a secretary to assist me. After sending her off to handle her tasks, I spent the rest of the day in my office, reviewing documents. As the end of the workday approached, I stepped out to use the restroom. While inside, I suddenly heard muffled sobbing from one of the stalls. Who's crying? The air turned eerily silent. A few moments later, the door to one of the stalls creaked open just a sliver, revealing a pair of frightened eyes. I softened my tone deliberately. I'm Julia, the new director of the entertainment department. If you're having trouble at work, you can tell me. I'll help you. There was a brief hesitation before the door slowly opened. The moment I saw her, I was stunned. Her small face was marred by a glaring red handprint, her cheeks swollen. Rage ignited within me. What happened? It happened during acting practice. Her eyes started nervously, clearly avoiding the truth. I led her back to my office, poured her a cup of warm water, and gently reassured her. What's your name, sweetheart? I'm Alice. I just joined the company this year. I nodded. Alice, listen to me. You don't have to be afraid or worried. As long as I am here, the entertainment department will not tolerate bullying. No matter who they are, no one gets to mistreat my artists under my watch. If you don't tell me the truth, I won't be able to help you. So, can you tell me now who hurt you? Chapter 13. Alice lowered her gaze, tears welling up in her eyes. It was Zoe. We were both selected to act in a historical drama. Today, the company had arranged an acting class. After class, Zoe said she wanted to rehearse our scene in advance. She also said that real actors shouldn't use camera tricks for close-up shots, and then she slapped me multiple times. I frowned deeply. So Zoe had already started bullying junior actors at this stage. But something didn't add up. She was still a rookie herself, not the big star she would become later. Where did she get the audacity to act like this? Does she treat everyone this way, or was she targeting you specifically? Alice hesitated before whispering, maybe it's because we were both in a previous project together. The director often criticized her for her attitude and told her to learn from me. Eventually, it even got to Monica and then Zoe. She trailed off, but I already understood. Zoe only signed with the company this year. You both joined around the same time. Why are you so afraid of her? Why do you call her senior? And if she bullied you, why didn't you report it to the company? Alice bit her lip, hesitating. Only after meeting my reassuring gaze did she continue. Because Zoe has the best resources among all of us rookies. Everyone says, they say she has someone backing her up. I let out a cold chuckle internally. So that was it. Her backer was obviously Elias. I had my secretary pull the surveillance footage from the acting classroom to confirm Alice's words. On the screen, only Zoe and Alice remained in the classroom. Every slap from Zoe was clearly meant to vent her frustration. Then she deliberately messed up her lines, forcing Alice to repeat the scene over and over again. Her smug expression, the way she handled the whole thing, it was obvious this wasn't the first time. A wave of fury burned in my chest. Trash like her, and she dares to dream of being a star? I immediately called Monica into my office. After watching the footage, her expression darkened. Boss, this is my failure. I should have kept a closer eye on the artists. I raised a hand, cutting her off. Let's focus on fixing the issue first. Monica nodded. I suggest issuing a formal reprimand within the company. Would you approve? I responded, a reprimand alone isn't enough. Since she's been given top-tier resources until now, let's see how she fares without them. Negotiate with the production team. Alice will take the lead role in the drama. As for the role Alice was originally cast in, give it to Zoe. She's been the star long enough. It's time she learns how to play a supporting role. Alice broke down in tears, thanking me over and over. I smiled. Work hard. People who are serious about their craft deserve a chance. Chapter 14. What I didn't expect was that the next day at work, Zoe caused a scene at the company. Why the hell did you replace me? Do you even know who gave me the lead role? How dare you mess with me? Do you know who's backing me? Who's the BCH that dared to do this to me? I stepped forward, standing at the edge of the gathered crowd. I spoke slowly and deliberately. I'm the one who had the production team replace you. Got a problem with that? Heads turned in unison, and the crowd instinctively parted to clear a path for me. Zoe whirled around. The moment she saw me, a flicker of malice flashed in her eyes before she quickly masked it with a pitiful expression. "Oh, it's Julia. I know you're the boss's wife. I've been close to Elias recently, so it's understandable that you'd be jealous. But this is a company. There are rules to follow. Outsiders have no right to interfere in company matters. You're just using personal grudges to get back at me. I wonder what Elias would think if he found out." Silence fell over the office like a suffocating fog. No one dared to speak. I let out a cold laugh, calmly placed my bag down, and took a seat. "Hudson, bring the laptop over and replay yesterday's video." As the surveillance footage played, Zoe's face turned pale, then red, then purple, an absolutely fantastic display. I leaned back, my tone unhurried. "First, I'm not an outsider. I'm the newly appointed director of the entertainment department. From now on, all matters, big and small, fall under my authority. Second, this isn't personal revenge. You're being punished because you broke company policy. The company has zero tolerance for bullying. Being an entertainer is just a profession. No one gets to abuse others just because they wear the title of a celebrity. And lastly, since you care so much about Elias, why don't I call him over and see what he thinks about all this?" I pulled out my phone and dialed Elias. The call barely rang before he answered, his voice filled with warmth. "Wifey, what made you think of calling me?" "Elias, come to the entertainment department now." "All right, baby, I'm on my way." As I hung up, I heard someone in the crowd sharply inhale. Then whispers broke out all around. "No way, was that really Elias? Why did he sound so whipped?" "You don't get it, they're a legit married couple. It's normal for them to be sweet." "So Elias is actually under his wife's control? Zoe's doomed now." "Didn't people say Zoe had someone backing her? Some even claimed it was Elias himself." "Shoo, don't spread rumors." Less than 2 minutes later, Elias strode into the entertainment department. Chapter 15. As Elias walked in, greetings of "Good morning, boss," echoed throughout the department. He stopped in front of me, his voice gentle. "Wife, why did you call me here? Is something at work bothering you?" I glanced around, enjoying the stunned expressions on everyone's faces. With a slight nod to my secretary, he immediately understood and began recounting everything that had just happened, replaying the surveillance footage once more. Elias's expression darkened. Breaking the silence, I turned to him. "Miss Zoe speaks as if you two are old acquaintances. Now that you know what's going on, tell me, what do you think?" His face was as stormy as a brewing tempest, his voice cold and firm. "All matters in the entertainment department fall under Julia's authority. She has absolute power here. Everyone must comply with her decisions. Additionally, the company will not tolerate any form of bullying. If it happens again, the consequences will be severe." The room fell into a suffocating silence. No one dared to speak. Tears welled up in Zoe's eyes as she pouted, her voice trembling sweetly. "I wasn't bullying Alice. I just wanted to practice my acting more so I could perform better. Boss, this role, you gave it to me. Did you forget why? Why did you suddenly stop liking me in such a short time? Did I do something wrong? Please tell me. I'll fix it. I don't know why Julia dislikes me, I only love you. I just want to be good to you, that's all. Why is everyone bullying me?" Zoe sobbed pitifully. I sat back, watching Elias with amusement. His expression kept shifting, and he nervously glanced at me. Because Zoe wasn't wrong. Elias had indeed given her that role a few months ago. He had likely intended to promote her, only to suddenly cut her off a month ago when he was reborn. From Zoe's perspective, it truly must have felt like he had lost interest overnight. Suddenly, Zoe shrieked, her voice sharp with rage. "BCH, did you poison Elias against me? He promised to support me. Why did you take my role? Why?" Before I could react, she lunged at me. A shadowy blur rushed toward me, knocking me off my chair and sending me sprawling to the floor. My vision spun, my stomach twisting in pain. Elias ripped Zoe off me and threw her aside. Security rushed in and immediately restrained her. Elias knelt beside me, his voice laced with anger as he helped me up. Violence will never be tolerated in this company. Since you refuse to repent, the company has no choice but to terminate your contract. Find your own way elsewhere. Zoe was dragged away by security, screaming Elias's name the entire time. Elias pulled me into his arms, his voice filled with remorse. I'm sorry, Julia. I didn't protect you. I'm taking you to the hospital right now. Chapter 16. That same day, I was admitted to the hospital. My injuries weren't severe, but the doctor recommended surgery for my cancer. During the days leading up to the operation, Elias practically moved his entire office into my hospital room. He held meetings beside me, reviewed documents beside me, even discussed work beside me. I finally had enough. Elias, go back to the company. The doctors will handle the surgery. You're not needed here. He lifted his head and stared at me, completely shocked. Wife, you don't like me being here with you? Are you still mad at me? The company already terminated her contract, and from now on, she'll never get any resources from us again. If you don't believe me, I'll have Monica report it to you personally. I pressed down on his hand before he could send the message. I believe you. I believe you. Now can you please just be quiet for a while? Chapter 17. On the day of the surgery, the sun was shining brightly, filling the hospital room with warmth. Elias paced back and forth, mumbling to himself. I thought back to my previous life, to the days I spent alone undergoing chemotherapy. The sky was always gray back then. The hospital room was unbearably cold. I had lain on that bed, waiting for death's footsteps to reach me. Julia, once your surgery is done, let's go on a trip. How about Florence or Rome or Milan? I remember how much you love Italian art. Once you're better, I'll take you to see it. I turned my head and found Elias looking at me with hopeful eyes. Sunlight streamed onto his face, making even the tiny hairs on his skin visible. I closed my eyes, not saying a word. The room fell silent again. Italy. Florence. I had completely forgotten. In my past life, my biggest dream had been to travel there, to admire the breathtaking art. But after everything that happened in this life, I had somehow forgotten all about it. Chapter 18. When I opened my eyes again, the surgery was over. The room carried a faint scent of lavender. Elias pushed the door open, and the moment he saw me awake, he shouted excitedly, "Doctor! Doctor! My wife is awake!" The doctor and nurses rushed in. The doctor reassured me that the surgery had gone smoothly and that I could be discharged after proper rest. I nodded in thanks. Finally, I could focus on my own life, a fresh start. Originally, I was supposed to be discharged in a month, but Elias insisted I stay 2 more months in the hospital. By the time I was finally allowed to leave, I felt like I was going to grow moss from being indoors too long. Standing at the hospital entrance, I waited for the driver to bring the car. May roses were in full bloom. I took a deep breath. The roses smell so lovely. Elias draped a shawl over my shoulders. Wife, wait here, I'll pick some flowers for you. He walked over to the flower bed, carefully selecting 2 red roses. Then, as he strolled back toward me, he lifted his arm and waved. Suddenly, his face changed, and he sprinted toward me. Julia, move. I turned my head just in time to see a black car speeding toward me. In an instant, a powerful force shoved me aside. Then, a crushing blow, darkness swallowed everything. In the distance, voices came and went. Elias. Madam. Doctor. Call a doctor. Chapter 19. When I woke up, I was staring at a familiar ceiling. Madam, are you all right? I looked up and saw Elias's secretary. I nodded. Moving my limbs carefully, there was no severe pain. The doctor said you only suffered minor scrapes. You'll be fine after a few days of rest. Please don't worry. I asked what happened. Someone deliberately drove into you and then fled the scene. We've already reported it to the police. Rest assured, we will find the culprit. I gestured for him to help me sit up. Where's Elias? His expression faltered. He was hit while saving you. He's in the ICU. His condition is still critical. I froze. No wonder I only had minor injuries. The one who pushed me away was Elias. A week later, Elias was finally transferred from the ICU to a regular ward. With the company's workload piling up and Elias suffering multiple fractures, he was completely unable to handle business matters. His secretary, Hudson, approached me with company documents. "Madam, the boss instructed us beforehand. If anything happened to him, you would be in charge of the company." I looked at Elias in shock. He forced an awkward, ugly smile. "But I've never done this before." "It's all right, madam. The boss told us to guide you. Anything you don't understand, I will explain." "All right then." I took the documents, and before I knew it, I had been working for half a month now. I was practically living in the hospital. Hudson had been running back and forth between the hospital, the company, and the police station. Chapter 20. One afternoon, the nurse was changing Elias's bandages. I was handling work documents when Hudson, the secretary, walked in. His expression was unreadable as he glanced at Elias. Elias didn't hesitate. "Hudson, just say it, no need to hold back." "Understood. The investigation is complete. The driver who tried to run over Madam was Zoe. She has confessed to the crime." A heavy silence filled the room. After her contract with the company was terminated, her career plummeted. She had a rough time. She tried to return to the company several times, but was rejected each time. Later, she found herself attached to the boss of another entertainment company, gaining some decent resources. However, the man's wife found out, caused a huge scandal, and beat Zoe so badly she ended up in the hospital. Eventually, she was kicked out completely. Out of options, that's when she convinced herself that if she hurt Julia, she could force her way back into the company. "Fortunately, boss, you saved Madam, and she didn't succeed. We are proceeding with legal action to ensure she faces the consequences she deserves." Zoe. So it was her. Karma had come full circle. Elias nodded. "Step outside. I need to talk to Julia." "Understood. But there's one more thing." "Speak." Zoe caused a huge scene at the police station. She kept screaming something about being reborn and demanded to see you. She said she won't plead guilty unless you meet her. The air in the room froze for a moment. Neither Elias nor I spoke. Then his voice turned icy. "I won't see her. From now on, I don't want to hear anything about her again." "Understood. I'll take my leave." Chapter 21. After the secretary left, neither Elias nor I spoke. Finally, he broke the silence. "Julia, I'm sorry. I dragged you into this. I'm just relieved that the one lying here isn't you. If something had happened to you, I wouldn't know how to atone for it." I stared at Elias, wrapped in bandages like a cocoon, and said nothing. "Julia, I know the pain I caused you in the past. Even if I lived 10 lifetimes, I could never make up for it. I'm willing to give you everything I have. All I ask is a sliver of pity, just enough to let me stay by your side and atone for my mistakes. Julia, please take a look at this document." He weakly lifted his arm and pointed toward a folder on the table. I opened the envelope. Inside were 2 documents. One was a property transfer agreement, the other a divorce agreement. I looked up at him, shocked. Elias had built his empire from nothing in both this life and the last. His career and wealth were the things he valued most, and now he was willing to give it all up. He smiled weakly. "Julia, I had these contracts drafted the moment I woke up from surgery. I've already signed them. If you sign, too, they take effect immediately. I voluntarily transfer all my assets to you, including my shares in the company. The other document is the divorce agreement. I will leave with nothing, and I will spend the rest of my life working for you free of charge. I know this doesn't even begin to make up for what I did to you, but this is the most sincere gesture I can offer. I just want you to live a happy life this time." I carefully reviewed the documents. They were exactly as he described. After a moment of silence, I asked, "When did you realize I was reborn?" He flinched and lowered his gaze. "That day at your parents' house, when you ran in terrified. I knew then, but I was too afraid to ask. I was scared you'd run away. I couldn't bear to lose you again. I'm sorry for failing to protect you and your parents in the past." I picked up the pen and signed both documents. "I accept all of this, but don't think you'll ever get my forgiveness. I can't pretend the past never happened. You want a fresh start? Forget it. I'll take the assets and shares, but you will remain CEO. This company is your creation after all. Besides, I have many things I want to do in this life. I don't have time to manage the company. Once you recover, I'm leaving. He struggled to sit up, panic flashing in his eyes. Wife, are you leaving me? Where will you go? I smiled and replied, to Italy. Florence. To finally see the art, the architecture, to walk its streets and meet its people. Maybe I'll travel elsewhere, too. There are so many places in the world I haven't seen. His expression darkened as he sank back into the bed, whispering, then maybe I should take longer to recover. This second chance at life wasn't given to me to stay entangled with someone. It was given to see the world, experience life, and find happiness. Or perhaps to find myself. Chapter 22. 1 year later, Florence. I stepped out of the Galleria dell'Accademia and sat on the steps of the square, basking in the afternoon sun. My phone buzzed incessantly with notifications, all from Elias. Wife, I was so busy with work today that I didn't even have time to eat. Wife, it's been raining nonstop here. My leg is hurting again. Wife, the investors and board members were giving me a hard time today. Wife, is Italy fun? When are you coming back? Wife, next time let's go to the beach together, okay? I remember you love the ocean the most. I silenced the notifications and set my phone to mute. A cheer erupted from the crowd. I looked up. A couple, dressed in a pristine white suit and wedding gown, walked past, stirring excitement in the square. Voices from different languages carried warm blessings through the air. They looked like the happiest people in the world. Unconsciously, the corners of my lips lifted into a smile. In the distance, the sun began its descent. This sun-drenched city of blue skies glowed with an unparalleled beauty. Under the golden hues of dusk, the grandeur of ancient Roman architecture stood in stunning contrast to the colorful stained glass windows, which reflected a mesmerizing glow. Majestic castles towered over the city, standing as timeless guardians of this mysterious and breathtaking land. White doves soared freely into the sky. Somewhere, the scent of grapes drifted through the air. Nightfall crept in, one light flickering on after another. Music began to fill the streets. My life was only just beginning.